we're going to find the antiderivative of the inverse sine of x function. Now, inverse sine of x is the same as arc sine of x, but it is not the same. So inverse sine is not the same as 1 divided by sine, which is the cosecant of x function. So those are different. We are integrating inverse sine. Recall integration by parts formula. The integral of u dv is equal to u times v minus the integral of v du. The idea of integration by parts is to call our integral the integral of u dv, set one part equal to u, the other to dv, find du, find v, and express our integral using this formula, the right hand side of this formula, hoping that the integral on the right will be much easier than the integral on the left. So let's proceed and try to do that. We're calling our integral of inverse sine of x the integral of u dv. The choice here is clear. U has to be inverse sine of x, because if that's dv, then we'll be going from dv to v. That's integration. That's exactly what we're trying to do. dv is 1. So remember the derivative of inverse sine. It's 1 divided by the square root 1 minus x squared. And v, for v, we can just take the very basic antiderivative of 1, which is x. Now we're ready to set up our integration by parts. So here is the left-hand side, inverse sine of x. This is our integral of u dv. That's equal to u times v, which is x times inverse sine of x, minus the integral of v du, which is x divided by the square root of 1 minus x squared. And you can see this integral, that's the integral of v du. It's much easier than the integral on the left, because the integral on the right can be done by basic u substitution, or in this case w substitution. Let's do that. We are going to let w equal to contents of the radical in the denominator 1 minus x squared. dw equals minus 2x dx. So minus 1/2 dw equals x dx. So x dx is minus 1/2 dw. We have a 1 here, and then square root of w in the denominator. That is the same as minus 1/2 times the integral of w to the negative 1/2 dw, which is a straightforward integral, minus 1/2 times w to the 1/2 divided by 1/2, which is minus w to the 1/2, or minus the square root of w. Now replacing w with 1 minus x squared, we get minus square root of 1 minus x squared. So let's return to the original problem. The original problem was the integral of inverse sine of x. It was equal to x times the inverse sine of x minus the integral of x divided by the square root of 1 minus x squared dx. We just solved the second integral. Here it is right here. So this is equal to x inverse sine of x minus a minus is plus the square root of 1 minus x squared, and then we add a constant of integration at the end, c.